morning, good afternoon, and good evening, CollectoClix Nation. Today, I was going to go into a little team build around some of the Avengers Forever chases, but surprise, surprise, we did get the results for the Q4 2022 watch list. And some of these changes are a bit of a surprise. Some of them I didn't really see coming, but a lot of them we kind of went over, kind of did see coming. And really, I'm pretty pleased with the outcome. If you're not pleased with the outcome or you think something else should have been changed, go ahead and put it in the comments down below. But I'm really happy with all the changes that they made with this Q4 2022. I say all of them, some of them I felt were a little bit overboard, but really this balanced out the game quite a bit. The first one we want to look at is the Wonder Woman, the Death Metal Wonder Woman that I've been building with pretty frequently. She's one of my favorite characters, and I don't know if they balanced her, but they did make it so that she wasn't as exploitable. You can't run 3 of her anymore and do her trait 3 times. So her old trait said once per game when a friendly standard character would be KO'd. The new errata says once per game for all friendly characters with this trait. So that just makes it so that you can only kick off her trait once per game. Even if you're running 3 of these, because it says for all friendly characters with this trait, it can only kick off once. So she can only, revive 1 person a game, but that's still an extremely strong ability and well worth her 50 points. Running 2 of her could cause issues, especially with the grand prize pieces. I think a double Blackheart, double Wonder Woman team won a Bronze Age event this past week, which you take 2 characters from the meta and just run 2 of each of them and win a Bronze Age, which is everything in the past, everything that WizKids has come out with for Heroclix, and that wins. There's probably an issue there somewhere, or those guys are just really good players, but it's more than likely some combination of the two. Just really good players with an overpowered piece, something that's probably broken, probably needs a little tweak to make it balanced. So their explanation was that the current wording allows it to go off multiple times. They were afraid of somebody running 6 copies of her, because they would have a stop click, and you had the soul sword out there, which I'm surprised it didn't make the watch list. Again, I know it's already been on there once, it hasn't seen a lot of play yet, but with Magic going on the watch list without seeing a lot of play, I'm surprised the soul sword didn't get on there with her. And they nerfed Magic to oblivion, kind of like, I saw this coming. I think everyone who knows what Magic can do and saw her on the watch list saw this coming, because it is such a powerful ability that it doesn't necessarily break the game, but it doesn't do what it's intended to do. So the errata to her was the second part of her special on movement. It now says friendly characters within 2 squares of the stepping disc marker can use free, place this character into an unoccupied square with that stepping disc marker. So it can't be any stepping disc marker on the map. This is just basically a free sidestep for a character. This kind of makes Magic unplayable in the meta, and yeah, kind of saw this coming. Wish she had seen a little bit of play, because I don't know how well it works, but with all the things that they're probably planning down the line, or even things that aren't planned yet, things that are 2 years out that they probably haven't even thought of, and that we haven't even gotten a whisper of. Allowing your entire team to cross the map first turn, especially with pieces like Scarlet Witch and Agatha Harkness, this was going to be an issue in any big event that came down the pipeline. So she did get an errata. In my mind, she did need errata. I know a lot of people say don't errata a piece until it's seen some play, but you just knew that even if they didn't errata it now, it was going to get an errata later, and allowing people to exploit pieces before they've had a chance to see the watch list kind of, I don't want to say it ruins the spirit of the game, but it also it makes it so that it's not that much fun to play against. That being said, I'm extremely happy she got an errata. I wish they hadn't nerfed her quite so hard. There was probably some other things that they could have done with her, but she is no longer meta. Mad Jim Jasper's got no change, thank God. They will be rewording the comprehensive rulebook as far as sideline objects go, so that Mad Jim Jasper's does work. He would have worked irregardless because the character card overrides the comprehensive rulebook, but they're going to make that a little bit more clear in their updated version. Sakari and Iron Man got no change, so Avengers is still alive and well. Scarab got no change, which I was kind of surprised with because they changed both the other characters that don't really interact with your opponent. They changed them both so that it kind of forces them to interact with the opponent a little bit more. Scarab is 50 points and doesn't really require you to interact with your opponent, and they didn't give him any change. That being said, this piece is probably necessary in the meta. I think I went over this in my last video. He's the main piece that's going to offset heavily equipped teams. So having him in the meta is probably a good thing, just to make sure that your opponent doesn't equip every single character on their team. That being said though, he is going to be one of the best meta pieces going forward after the new equipment rules come through with Batman Team Up. Now Thanos, there's been a lot of talk about this change to Thanos. I think this doesn't make Thanos unplayable. I think it makes him balanced. So his change is that he can't use the same stones 2 turns in a row. So he can't choose Mind every single turn. He can only choose Mind every other turn. I think this balances him out. This gives the opponent the chance to get up into Thanos' grill instead of being mind controlled away from him the entire game. I mean, he's still extremely strong, and you can put so much support around this piece. I'm not sure if WizKids really understands the problem with Thanos, because the problem wasn't that he could choose mind control every turn. The main problem was that he could shoot across the map and get 20 squares of barrier around him in 1 turn. And I don't think they really understand that. It's more of this, and you know, all the better for it, because Thanos didn't get changed to unplayable. He's still playable. He's just not as good anymore. And this might turn people off from playing him, but at the same time, I think this balances out Thanos teams a little bit. I don't think he needed a change. I think he was fine. He hadn't really won anything huge. I don't think he even made top 4. He might have made top 8 with Daniel Powell at Worlds, but besides that, he hasn't really won anything huge. He's one of those pieces that's always been in top cuts, but never really made it. And that's kind of surprising, especially with the number of people that play Thanos. It might be one of those where people are building against him, so, you know, there's so much out there that you can build against Thanos and win, but it might also be one of those where he's just a really good piece, just not the best team that you could put together. But he did get a change, and it balances that out a little bit. Hopefully, going forward, people will stop complaining about him. Apocalypse got probably the biggest change on the watch list. So, I don't know. This change kind of splits a lot of people. I really thought they were going to make him unique, and that's what a lot of people thought going into the watch list and what they're going to do with him. And I think the fact that they didn't make him unique and went with a different change really jars. Whenever you go against the grain, it really jars people. And I think this change, because it went so against what people were so certain was going to happen. Everyone was certain that he was going to be unique. But instead of doing that, they just made it so that his horsemen bystanders have a point value. I personally do like this change. I like it. You know, they could have just made him unique, but that still allows Apocalypse teams to sit in the back sit in their starting area, not interact with the opponent at all, and just rack up points. With the Pogs, with Scarab, with other things that you can put on that team, the fact that the Pogs now have a point value, you can't just mastermind to the Pogs without thinking, and you can't just play a 100-point piece that your opponent's not going to score and bet on that. You know, it's not a safe bet anymore, because, you know, if they attack them enough times, they're going to score points. They're going to score enough points to win that game. So I like the change. It forces Apocalypse teams to be a little bit more active in the game. Not that, you know, some of the Apocalypse teams weren't active. It's just that they had the capability to just sit back in the starting area and wait for their opponent to make a mistake or to come out of their starting area. And whenever they did come out of their starting area, they weren't going to be able to score any points. It's just 100 points that you can't score. But this change negates that, and now you can score points against an Apocalypse teams relatively easily. Mad Jim Jaspers in Silver Age did not make the ban list. Hawkeye stays on the ban list. Thanos is now banned in Silver Age. See, I'm not a huge Silver Age player, so this is kind of huge because Thanos was such a good ID battery, probably the best ever made. Yeah, I know that's going to rankle a lot of chains because, well, you know, Danny Powell, he's the main Thanos player, and I know this is going to wrinkle his chain that they not only mess with Thanos but messed with him twice. But like I said, I really don't think he needed one because Thanos hasn't won anything. So even with a great mind like Daniel's behind the wheel of it and piloting it, it's really good. It's a really good piece. It's going to take top level play for it to win because it is a tentpole, because there's so much out there that can beat Thanos that if you play just one of those pieces, you have a chance against it. It's not going to make it very far past top cuts. But now in Silver Age, with IDs cards being a thing, yeah, Thanos is potentially an issue there. That being said, I'm not huge in Silver Age. If anybody that's listening to this is big in Silver Age, let me know what you think about him being banned in Silver Age down in the comments below. I would really like your input because Silver just never jived with me. I started getting into it, but then I realized I'm just gonna have to restart my whole collection. So I stayed out of Silver Age. In fact, that's the change that got me made me take a little hiatus for a little bit because I started trying to re-up that collection of things, and it turned into too much and started focusing on other things instead. But Thanos is now banned in Silver Age. That's probably the main thing to come out of this, on top of the Apocalypse change. Let me know what you guys think about all the changes down in the comments below. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And I hope to see you guys in a future video. Peace.